Thank you all very much for having me here today. So what I like to do, instead of doing, line drills and all that sort of stuff, those are great. I like to start with some active warm-ups on what we're going to be doing this evening, okay? So first off, let me just say this. I don't know how you guys get down to Richmond, but if you do, you always got a place to train, okay? Look it up, Apex, come by and see us. Got a great group there. So always want people to come in. Stay with us. I need to choose someone. Can I use you? Yes. Okay. All right. Brian. Okay. That's nice and easy. Brian. Okay, so what we're going to start off with, first off, get close to your partner, and I want you to choose someone that's somewhat close to your size and height. Okay? Try to find someone that's close to your size and height. All right? First things first is we're going to warm up with just a quick nice little drill. What I want you guys to think about is everything that we do today is going to be for a reason. All right, so the footwork that we're doing with this is for a reason. The grip work is for a reason. A lot of this stuff, we have the ability to translate back and forth to gi and yoki takedowns. Okay, we're going to start off with some standing positions today. We're going to start off with some takedowns, and we're going to just see kind of how it goes. Okay, so and then we'll take it from there. So first things first, you're going to grab a grip straight across from you, from your partner. All right. Now, real quick thing on grips. Okay, this can work, right, depending on size, right? But for today, let's try to just go straight across. This is where you're nice and strong, okay? So you're just gonna come straight across and grab a nice collar grip straight across from you. If you're not right-handed, act like you're right-handed. We're gonna start with the right hand, all right? Then we're gonna grab the other sleeve, all right? Now, for purposes of this, when we start, your opponent's just gonna kind of lay their hand up there on top of this. Okay? And here they can just kind of lay their hand up on top of that. All right? What we're going to start off is with a little drill with our footwork, and we're pulling our opponent into a place where we want this. All right? So this is nice and easy. You're going to step past your opponent, right? So your foot goes past theirs. Okay? And if you're facing that wall, okay, when you turn, you're going to face that wall, and you're going to pull them right where you weren't. Okay? So they're right in front of you. And you don't have to do this really hard. You don't have to jerk them. You don't have to do any of that stuff. All right? What I want you guys to do is step past and pull them right where you were. Okay? Step past, pull them right where you were. After you do it a couple times, I want you guys to be mobile a little bit. We're not robots. Okay? So be loose. Move around a little bit. Okay? Move around with your partner. Right? And then you're going to step past and pull them right where you were. Okay? Step past, pull them right where you were. Questions? Okay? When you start this, I want you to do about 10 good times and then switch, and the other person is going to grab, right? Just kind of hang out there, be a good partner. Good. Just go step past. Step past with this one. Yes. Right where he is. Good. Step past. Good. Okay, good. I'm going to come around and help you guys, okay? What you want to do, the point of this, okay, is to get our opponents set up for some throws, okay? We're going to work on that today. But what I want you to realize is this. If you got to do all of this, okay, that's okay, and sometimes we got to get there when we're live, right? But I want you to start off nice and easy, right? Nice and easy. Just pull it right there. Pull it right there. Any questions? All right, on 3. 1, 2. All right, so we're going to add a little something to this, okay? Now, I don't want to burden you guys too much with a lot of different gripping things, right? There's a lot of gripping options here, right? We can be down here at the sleeve, right? So what I do want you guys to work on is I want you to act like judo people for this, not jiu-jitsu people. So don't do this, okay? This is nice. Love this grip. Love that we can use it in jiu-jitsu. But for this, as we're setting this up, we want to give ourselves some options. Okay, so I want you to be grabbing the sleeve like this. Now, good for this is actually the elbow, right, instead of the sleeve. Okay, this helps us set up some different techniques, some different throws. Okay, this gives us the ability to manipulate them a whole lot more than this. Okay, and when you play with this grip, what you realize is when you grab it like this and you turn like you're going to look at your watch. Okay, that tightens up all the gi material there, and it allows you, when you're behind their elbow, to be able to manipulate them a lot better. Okay, and that's what we want for this. Okay, so we're gonna once again, I want you to grab a nice grip. You're gonna step, boom, pull them in. And then as soon as you hear that pull, you're gonna go back the other direction with a big steering wheel. So this, yeah. We're gonna step through, boom, and then you're gonna do a big steering wheel. Now, I wanna show you something about what's happening with the hand, with this hand here. Okay, there's a reason I have it here. When it's here, if I do this and I do my big steering wheel, I'm gonna kind of use my wrist into his neck and his cheek and his head a little bit. If it's up a little higher, I kind of use the side of my hand up into his neck, his cheek a little bit. The big thing that I want you guys thinking about when you turn this big steering wheel is dominating head position, okay? When we do this and we step and we go past, boom, if we do this and this head stays that way, just take the head that way, that's not helping us. That's not what we need. We gotta abort and start over, okay? So when we step through, right, boom, pull them, big steering wheel, and we're gonna make sure their head passes in front of us, okay? Does that make sense? Any questions?
That'd be long.
Yes. Stepping through, boom, into the hole, big turn. This hand is pulling this direction. This hand's coming up, right? And turning him, right? Dominating that head. And the point of this is to, one, start to displace his spine, right? And also start to lay the weight on this foot, right? So we just put it on backward, okay? All right, and then when we do this, and his head passes in front of us, see how we put it on the other one? That's what we want, okay? Because I'm sneaking up on teaching you the most feared throw in judo and jiu-jitsu. But I'm gonna take your fears away from it today, okay? Because when I leave here, I want you to continue practicing it. And a lot of jiu-jitsu gyms do not do a lot of throws because nobody wants to take the fall, right? It's okay. Some of us are getting older, can't really take the falls that well. Some of us never really learned how to do it. The best time is when you're young to learn how to do that, right? Because most jiu-jitsu gyms just don't do enough takedowns, right? So what I want to leave you guys with when I leave here today, I want to leave you with something very specific that you can continue to practice, and you can practice it without fear with each other because you make your opponent safe during this throw. No one's gonna have to do a big break fault today. No one's gonna go home with their hip hurting because they got thrown, none of that stuff. We're not doing any of that. But I'm gonna teach you the most feared and powerful throw in judo. And if you just change just a little bit, it's one of those where their feet go in the air and they might get knocked out when they hit the mat, okay? Anybody like to learn that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so this is what we're sneaking up on, all right? So once again, here we go, we're stepping past, pull them into the hole, okay? We're gonna turn the big wheel, all right? Now, as soon as we turn the big wheel like this, see how he's in front of me like this? What I want you to do is get on one leg, right? And I want you to mimic this position. We're not gonna do anything with it yet. Well, here's what your opponent needs to feel. First off, they've crossed in front of you, their head crossed in front of you, okay? If you go to do this and his head is back this way, start again, right? Good big turn, and then I want you to put your foot, just from right where you're at, put your foot right there. And what I want you to feel, what they should feel is pressure, okay? So, see how this hand is driving them over? Once they've gone there, I'm never gonna let him come back, right? And now I'm in a really good position where I can hold him here. But what I want you guys to feel is this balance, and what I want you to feel is the back of your foot on their leg, right? And I want you to just hold this pressure for a second, nice and easy. Let your leg go. Okay. Big wheel, right there. Hold that pressure for a second. Does that make sense? Good. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, so once again, here we are, we're stepping past, pulling them into the hole, turning the big wheel. Okay, now here's what I want you guys to do, nice and easy, okay? I want you to just walk across from them. I taught you this, okay, right, for kind of what's coming next. But now, once you get this turn, I want you to, almost like you were just gonna start walking that direction, okay? So you turn their head that direction, you're gonna walk, and you're just gonna take the right over, like nice and easy. And I don't care if it's ugly, okay? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's ugly. Okay, we're not worried about pretty right now. We're just worried about the position, okay? That's 1, 2, 1. We're gonna take off walking. We're just gonna see, I'm just kind of stepping across, rolling them right down my leg. And you're gonna lightly place for back. Don't drop them, right? Lightly place them down there where they feel like they don't mind having you do that, right? You just got comfortable with the Soto guard. And this is a nice setup, okay? The reason why I like to do this way is because you can change one thing. Now, this thing that we just did with the hands where they are and all this kind of stuff, to make this work live, just like that, that's tough, okay? A lot of things going on when it's live, a lot of things, guys moving, stuff like that. This is to get you used to being in the right direction. However, all we really got to do is change one little thing and we can make this work live, okay? We've already programmed ourselves to get there correctly, right? So here, what we're gonna do with this one is, same thing, we're gonna step past, pull them in, and when we go to turn the big wheel, okay, we're gonna do something a little bit different. When we go to turn the big wheel, as we're turning with this hand and driving, we're just gonna kind of let go of the key, and we're just gonna drive across them like this. So I pull them in nice and tight, pull them in nice and tight here, okay? So when we take off walking past them, okay, we're gonna let go and we're just gonna grab their head, okay? Now, what makes this work really, really well, okay? And don't do this when we do the practice, you're gonna do it nice and light. When you get in here, you know how you like, got your people you train with that you like go nice and easy with, all that kind of stuff. And then you got your people you train with where you guys kind of know you can both kind of let loose, all right? Get that person, okay? And then train this, okay? And the reason why for that is this. We're gonna step across, we're gonna move, and when we come through, we're gonna clothesline, okay? And we're just gonna do the same thing we just did. We're gonna keep stepping across, we're just gonna let him right down, okay? So I want you to nice and easy, like you're gonna clothesline them, okay? Once again, just start moving around a little bit. Be light like we were before, right? And if he goes to bending over like this, like most jiu-jitsu guys do, then that's what he gets for doing that, okay? Because that just puts him in a position where you can really, really dominate. Right. You can really dominate and come across, and then when you take off past them, right, all it is a big step. Then I want you to roll right down. Questions? Same thing, but we're gonna do it with a big hug, okay? When you big hug, you're controlling the head, right? And you're pulling them to you. Remember, when you're doing a judo throw, especially a forward judo throw, you're kind of throwing yourself and making sure your opponent's attached to you, right? Does that make sense? A lot of times we kind of forget that. There's some throws that are kind of beautiful hand throws, there's all kinds of different things. Not this one. This one is a pile drive into the mat, okay? So I want you to kind of treat it like that. You don't have to hit really hard with that. What I want you to do is just make sure you're taking your opponent's head, walk right past them, and roll them right down to the mat nice and easy, just like you do. Make sense? All right, all three. 1, 2. You can take this intensity level of this up or down. You can use your hands, you can drive across, right? It's just a nice, good way to get your footwork going and to understand what's happening when you put someone on your other foot, right? And remember, the big points about this is dominating the head. Where we're gonna nail that into place is now I'm gonna show you a little bit different setup, a little bit different version for the same throw. And this is something that you're gonna see more in the lighter weights, okay? Because it sets up for lots of other throws. You can use this same setup to set up a wicked Uchimata or a Haragoshi, right? But the handwork and the footwork we're gonna do is gonna be for that, okay? And what I wanna get from you guys is, we started with this little footwork thing where we're pulling off to the side. A lot of times we do that as just kind of a warm up, right? Boom, boom, and then we'll do a little kick up, right? And see how I put him into the T by doing that, right? As soon as I did that, boom, and moved around the circle, he stepped right into my T, right? See that? My T, he's the top of the T, I'm the bottom T. This means I'm ready for flight. That's what it means for him, right? It means I'm ready for flight. He's ready to go backwards, he's ready to go forward, he's ready to go for a ride. Okay, that's where you want him. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that. Okay, so we're gonna use our hands, once again, be light on your feet. We're gonna step past, pull, and then I want you to kind of shake them up twice and put yourself in that T. And as soon as you see yourself in that T, you're gonna do this little thing with your hands, okay? Your hands are gonna be nice and loose. Does? And you're gonna do this little thing with your hands where you go like this. Okay? See that? Everybody see where my hands are? Okay? Now, here's what I'm gonna tell you. When you're loose and moving and they're trying to get their feet back up, you pull them over and he wants to stand back up, right? Because you pull him over and he does not feel good. As he's standing up, that's when you're going to do that. You're going to drive the heel of your hand right to their head. You're going to pull this. And see what I've done is, before, I was using the big wheel, right? This is the, okay? We're just going to step in and do the big wheel, okay? What this is, light on your feet, light on your hands, right? Boom. And we're going to push the face over. I want you to be a little bit more aggressive. This is jiu-jitsu class, right? Be a little bit more aggressive with this hand. If when you first grab your opponent's knee, it's all tucked in nicely, okay? I want you to do this. I want you to open it up, okay? So we're going to step past, boom, shake them up a bit. Wait, we're going to step back again, okay? This is what I want to see. See how I'm in the T? Bottom T, top T. We have a turn, heel of our hand in the jaw, right? And their head is across the center once again. And there we are. Okay, make sense? All right, on 3. 1, 2. Practice this on the crash pad with your partners, okay? So, where am I?
Tall, Chris.
Okay, no, I'm not going to throw him. I'm not going to throw him there. No, I'm not. I told you guys we're not going to do that today, and we're not. We're not going to take no big falls. We're not going to take no big throws. That's not what today is. This is all about technique. Okay? We step through, boom. Now, when you get this, what I want you to do is this, and all you guys have seen this. You've seen this if you've watched judo highlight videos and all that stuff, which most of you have seen this. But what you didn't see was what I just taught you with the hands. Okay? All you saw was the action. Right? And you didn't realize that all this stuff has to come together first before you can do this. Okay? This finish is what's called a hopping finish. This is why I had you do this. Right? So all you're going to do once you have your hands here, the reason why I like this for jiu-jitsu, okay, is because if you do this and you miss and his head's back, you just do it again. You just do it again. Oh, he's got it. Oh. Nothing happened to go. Okay? As soon as you feel that you've got that grip, and their face goes across in front of yours, right? We're head to head, boom, boom, and his head goes across the line, right? As soon as it goes across the line, I'm gonna hop. Now, if I'm over here when I do that, right? I'm gonna give a little like this, okay? If I'm right here when I do that, what I'm gonna do is, we're just gonna stick it up there. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put my hands here, and I'm gonna hop, boom, and then hop towards laying right down. Okay? Does that make sense? You guys ready to give this a try? I want you guys to really focus on this, because as soon as we get this right, we're gonna move on from this, okay? And we're gonna do some stuff from ground. You guys ready? On 3, 1, 2. I hope that you got it enough that you can do it when I'm not here. That was my goal, right? For to give you a systematic way to get to it, right? So you can play with it in a couple different options. So even if your technique, right, is not crisp, you can still start to pick it up. The best thing I can tell you to do, have your coach you, right? That's what he's here for, right? And have your coach say, you guys have all seen what it feels like today to feel vulnerable, right? When your spine is out of alignment, when your head is off to the side, you've crossed in front of your opponent, right? And you're set up for this throw. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions?
I know.
Yes.
Your elbow grip being at work. If you're in the arm position under versus over, it feels very different for the control of the torque that I get to that. When you're going for this, do you really want your arm on the outside versus of the inside?
So this is very much a personal preference, right? There are world champions that grip every different way for their throws, right? So The best answer to your question is yes.
Okay.
Right? I hate to be that way, but you gotta work through that, right? Because your size, your gripping ability, and the way that you like to set up a chain of throws, this is gonna have to do with the way you like to grip, okay? For instance, I'll tell you where I like to grip. You guys can play with this too. Like some people like gripping the armpit. This is nice, right? A lot of people, it's very traditional to grip back here behind the elbow like this, then get behind the wrist like this, depending on what kind of throw you're gonna do. I'll tell you what I've kind of settled on that I really like lately, I've used a lot of. I grab like right on the inside of the elbow. Start right there. Like the inside of the elbow, right? I like that because I'm a heavyweight, right? And I'm going against other heavyweights, okay? And this, against heavyweights, man, guys are big and strong. We're talking guys that weigh over 300 pounds and they're really strong and athletic. And sometimes if you just go like this, right? Try that to me. Right? You better have it just right, or you're not going to displace me by doing that. I'm just too big, right? So, if you're smaller, right, I still think this leaves the most options, right? If you're not doing just this Osotogari, right? But there's really nice things you can do with this, right? You can do an Osotogari with one hand with that one, right? There's all kinds of things that we can do, right? So the grip question is play with it, right? As you get your throws better, you're going to figure out what you like. Okay? So we're going to do this. We're going to do our throw, and I want you guys, when we practice this, I want you to do the throw a few more times. Okay? So we're going to boom, step, come inside, step, boom. We're going to lay them down, so we're going to follow them to the mat. Now, realize when we do this live, I'm going to like land on my opponent, knock his breath out, right? Now, when we land here, depending on where the arm is what I'm going to do with it, right? I can stuff it across, I can go over it, right? But right after we land and we hit the floor, boom, this hand's going to stay right here, okay? It's going to stay nice and tight. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys a choke that I really, really like from here. Now, I always say this. I do not consider this a high percentage finish, okay? Now, inevitably, once you guys practice this a couple times, you're going to say, what do you mean it's not a high percentage finish? This is nasty, right? I still don't consider this a high percentage finish. What I consider this is it like a jab, right? Now, sometimes you can knock somebody out with a jab, right? This choke can be escaped fairly easily, but they have to actually do it. And the good thing about this choke is right when they land and they've hit the mat from this throw is when I like to throw this the best. Is because imagine you've just done a big throw, they've just hit the mat, you've bounced on their chest, they're reacting in their brain, they're like, oh crap, I just got thrown and this does not feel great, all right? So we're gonna keep this grip here. This hand is gonna reach behind the ear, okay? I'm gonna grab inside with both fingers, okay? And then as I roll from this direction to the other direction, I'm just gonna feed this over his chin, right? And I'm gonna lay on his face, right? So this is a kind of a blood choke, trachea choke, smother choke, all wrapped into one, okay? Now, if you grab out here, okay? If you grab out here, it really gets low percentage, right? You're really just messing with it, okay? What I like to do is grab way back here, right? And I like to pull. See that little pull? Right? And when I go across, I'm gonna kind of aggressively go across. I'm doing this nice and slow, but when I do this for real, it's like really fast. Boom, right? And when we hit over here, right, both elbows are gonna come back like this, almost like my elbow's gonna scoop under his head over there. So I'm choking both sides. The heel of my hand here is smashing the front, right? And my body weight is coming down on his face, okay? If you wanted to be nice to your opponent, this is not a choke for you, right? So this is really, really nice, okay? For you heavyweights, I encourage you to play with this a lot with each other, okay? Now, here's the thing. If when I do this, he puts both hands into me because his hands are free, he puts both hands into me once I'm there, puts his feet and gives me a nice big oompa, he may be able to like get out of it, right? Even once I'm here, right? I haven't finished yet, and he puts his hand and gives a nice big oompa, pushes, Yeah, a lot of times I gotta let go and cover and come back, right? This is the whole point of this choke, guys. What I want is you've thrown him, okay? You're gonna immediately hit him with something where he's gotta react, right? Right in that shock moment, right when we've hit the mat, boom, you're gonna throw this choke right at him, right? Now, when they react, that's okay, because you almost got choked, he had to react, and now you're gonna peel him right back down into side control. Okay, and that's all part of the mind game we're working on here. Does that make sense? You guys want to see it again?
Please.
Yes. Let's start from up. Everybody start from up. Okay? And we do the same thing. Step in a big circle. Boom. Give them this. Do our hop. Boom. With a land. Immediately, we're going to grab here, behind the ear, come across. I want you to lay on their face, right? And when you come across, you're going to pull your elbows back like a lat pull. Does that make sense? Was with it. A good way to know if you have it deep enough is if you can just go like this and go across, it's not tight enough, okay? What you want to be is behind the ear. So even if he puts his chin down, right, and he's trying to stop you, you can just kind of grind it across there, right? It gets super tight super quick, yes? You guys ready to give it a try? Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3. So I've been training a really long time, about 22 years. And so I've seen a lot, done a lot, trained a lot of people, all this kind of stuff over the years. And I came up in an academy that was very, very basics focused. And so we really kind of focused on that. And I think it's served me well over the years. I've gone through my times where I've gone through the flares and the cool stuff and the upside downs. At one time I was a guy that weighed 285 pounds that could actually bear a bolo, like stuff like that. But I'm 53 years old and I don't do that no more, all right? But what always works, every single time, all the time, right, is good, solid fundamentals, right? Like Hadra Gracie style, right? Like if you want to watch someone to emulate, right, that's one. There's a lot of them out there, right? A lot of them out there. But for good, solid, basic jiu-jitsu, somebody just says, I'm going to take you down, mount you, and choke you from mount. What are you going to do about it? And then does it, right? To me, that's like the power of some pretty crazy good jiu-jitsu, right? So I like to try and emulate that whatever I do. When we get in here to the academy and we're playing with our friends, right? That's when we create, we do all these fun things, we play these fun games, and Hiva and Spine Guard, all this kind of stuff, right? It's all wonderful. It's all great jiu-jitsu, and it's all super fun, right? But I like to take it back sometimes and really think about kind of the mindset of what it means to like win. If you decide, I'm just gonna win. I'm gonna do what it takes to win. I'm not playing, right? We played a minute ago, right? Now this one, I'm gonna win, right? So what I like to think about is once you get side control, you don't move on from there. That's where you finish from, okay? And so what I encourage you to do is sometimes do that when you're rolling with someone that's close to your size, your level, your weight, someone that you have good, hard matchups with, okay? Try to get to a dominant position. Don't move on from Vegas. Try to finish from there. Try to keep it from there. And if you could do it with somebody that's better than you, that's even better. Someone who sweeps you all the time. Someone who can get out of your side control. Someone who can do all these things to you. And with this, I want to show you just a couple little things, right? Kind of a little kind of teaser for side control, okay? And then if you guys ever want to have me back at sometime, we can go through this into this a little bit more depth about how to kind of hold side control. And when I say hold side control, I don't mean from a single position, right? When I say side control is side control, right? Side control is this side. Side control is north-south, north-south. Side control the other side. It's sitting up. It's down. It's side control, right? You're on the side, right? So, here you go. So I just want to show this real quick. Could everybody stand up and kind of come in closer, okay? So I just want to show this little position thing here. And it's a nice little place to start from to hold side control on someone. And it addresses a couple of the most common ways that we escape from side control here, right? And we can put this right into where we were. Today we landed here, right? And this is always a nice place to be from, okay? So the only thing I'm gonna do here to change this, and what I'm about to show you is exactly the same, gi or no gi. That's what's great about this, okay? It doesn't rely on the gi. Now, if he has the gi, I love it because I can add in these little grips, and actually having the gi helps retain side control a lot, right? So if you get somebody that's super talented and super explosive, right, with no gi, sometimes it's really hard to hold them in side control, okay? But it's a good way to start. So what I'm gonna do is think about like this. I want you to look at the angle of me to him, right? See how I'm not on the mat with anything except for my feet, my toes, okay? This is straight across. This foot is going straight across from him. This one's behind, okay? And my hip is right on his hip, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys the secret to kind of taking a couple little tips to taking his mobility away and giving you the ability to react when he goes to explode and try to get away. Now right here, he's not really that uncomfortable, right? He's probably gonna bring his hand inside here like a good jiu-jitsu guy. He's gonna be ready to either oompa and turn to his side and try to sneak a knee in there because he feels that's open, right? So he's got that. Or maybe he'll oompa and fold an underhook under this arm, right? He'll oompa up and he'll get this underhook. Okay, these are two nice escapes from him. All right, so I want to show you a couple things. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna displace his spine in a couple ways, okay? For one, he's just laying flat right here. I'm gonna use my hip just to do like this to him. Just a little bit. It's not enough, not a lot, just a little bit, okay? I want you to notice how I do that. Just gonna roll into him a little bit. See, I've just kind of put him on that other hip more than one, okay? And what that's done is it's taken his spine where it was just flat on the ground, and when he puts his feet in, his heels in, he can, if he's athletic, he can move me a lot, okay? But if I just do this, right, he can't move me that well. He's got to get that back first, okay? So we're gonna displace the spine there. I'm also going to cup this shoulder and give a little pull, right? So I'm turning his spine this way, right? Just a little bit, doesn't take much. Just pulling his spine this way. And then I'm gonna take these fingers, put them under his head, and turn his head this way. Now, this is a way different position for him to escape from. The great thing is, I'm not putting out any more energy than if I was just hanging out there, right? So I could just hang out here, right? He's all straight, his head's good, he can push his head into the mat, he can bump, he can do all these things, right? Or if I just twist him here, right? I'm still just hanging out, I'm not doing anything, I'm just kind of waiting for him to move, right? In order for him to displace me, he's got to give a weak little bump first to get his spine back. Boom. Go hard and get your spine back. Boom, boom. He's got to get his spine back. And while he's doing that, I can just kind of relax here, put him right back where I need him, and roll him right back up. Okay? Then he's going to try to bump and get out. Now, if I wait and try to hold that, right, he can bump once real hard, get that back, and then he can bump again, right, and go to work inside. Okay? But what this does is it gives me that beat. So he can't take the lead, right? We're always trying to take the lead. When you're down, you got to do something to change the momentum and take the lead, right? So what this does is it gives us the opportunity to hold him in a nice little side control position. And now we're just waiting for him to do something, right? Because he has to do something. He has to do something to get out of there, right? And when he does, we get to feel it, and it's weak. It's weak because we made it weak because we displaced his spine in 3 different directions. And he's got to do a 1 bump to get all that back. Then his second bump can be the big one where he does his escape, right? And by that time, we've already moved on and taken that one away from him, okay? So we're gonna practice this just a little bit. And what I want you to try to do, the goal is the person on the bottom, we're gonna get you in this, and I want you to try to just bump them up in the air and slide your knee underneath like you're gonna do that little oompa escape to the side, slide your knee and put them in a guard, okay? And as the person on top, they have to do 2. They can't do it on the first one, right? Because they're here. So as soon as they do, you're just gonna sit down, right? Right here, and you took that away, right? This is not a scarf hold like in wrestling. We're not up here, okay, for you wrestlers. But it very much mimics that position, okay? But it's over the hips, okay? It's over the hips, and it's still controlling here, and it's still controlling here, because what I'm gonna do is, he figures out real quick that he can't stick the knee in there, and he starts thinking about what he's gonna do next, and then see where this foot is? Stays right there, and I just come right back, right? And then he's gonna bump again and try to get that in there, and I'm gonna sit free, right? And I'm gonna stop him from doing that, right? And then when he settles for just a second, okay, I'm gonna come right back, okay? And it's gonna take some practice to twist the spine right where it needs to be every single time, right? But once you get it, this is just a really nice little start setup, okay? This is like step one of like a whole system, and there's a ton of positional changes in here. There's a ton of submissions that come off of here. There's a ton of everything that comes off here. You're in side control and his arms are in front, right? All you arm lockers, all you chokers, everything comes off right here, okay? But what I want to give you from this is the ability to make sure that they can't take the momentum back. You're going to make them give you an extra bump, right? So you can stay in the lead and address them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, let's split up, and we're going to kind of do this. I want you to feel I'm going to come around and help you, right? But remember, you're going to displace the spine a little bit, just a little bit. This is not a whole lot. You don't have to smash them all up, okay? It's just a little bit here. It's a little bit here, and it's a little bit there, right? Look at the difference in him right now. That's what he looks like underneath you, okay? Not very strong, right? Right here, he's strong. Why let him be there, okay? And we don't have to. Does that make sense? All right, let's grab our partner on 3. 1, 2.